Hello and welcome to So Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fan cast by a fervent fan.
And a fresh-faced first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay, and this is The Story So Farscape. The Story So Farscape...
Oh, yes, go!
...is the all-American hero John Crichton.
The science jock.
Yep. Who is, for some reason always in Australia, but I guess it's because of an Australian series, and flying him back and forth through the US was too much. But he is on on a living ship, a biomechanical ship, with his crewmates. Tentacles, also known as Dargo, the wielder of the famous Keyblade.
The bad sword.
Domina Rigel the 16th, also known as Earbrows, who is usually... he does a lot of floating around in this episode, I noticed.
Yes.
There's a lot of throne sled scenes that we see.
Yeah, with a lot
around.
of convenient foreground objects, so you don't actually see underneath the throne
No,
sled.
and always shot at a Dutch angle from below, and you can't see the bottom of it. Her blueness is on.
Yep.
She's not really a blue meanie, but,
No, she's fantastic.
She is.
The lapsed priestess.
Although she did
former
get her vestments back on in this episode.
That's right.
Yes. And who have we missed? Oh, of course, the salacious Sebastian.
Yeah, Aaron.
Yes.
Aaron's son.
And of course, newcomer, Chani.
Chiana.
Yeah, that's the one,
new kid on the block.
Yeah, who is a complete and total brat, as I've noticed so far.
She's a brat.
A little bit,
A little bit. Come on. She is looking out for number one all the time, unapologetically.
That in common with Rigel.
I'd say
whom we already like.
Oh, we do.
Yeah,
and
so
Shiana is she's yes. So
and of course, Moya and Pilot.
I started with mentioning the living ship.
Yeah, yes,
the
biomechanoid. That's right.
The pregnant biomechanoid, which actually is an important plot point of this series.
It continues to come back. In this case, it's the impetus for even the beginning of the show. But before they get there, Kay, you did the Story So Farscape all on your own. I'm so delighted with you also did when we were watching it together. You did the little at the end of the theme song.
We've been doing that for ages.
I know. So, but you're do you consider yourself a proper scaper now? Are you?
Is that the proper term? Scapers?
I don't think that any of the other terms that we came up with really stuck.
No, I suppose not.
I know we're not scrapers and we're not fanscapers. That's.
Manscapers, maybe, but that's a different story altogether. That's a different podcast.
But yeah, we're well into the first season now, and this is do you consider yourself a fan of the show?
I would say so. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely keep watching this, even if we weren't doing a podcast about it. So yes, I would definitely want to keep watching and see the rest of it.
I am so excited to okay. Can you describe what you like about the show so far? Escape.
Sorry.
So I said so far, and the branding department has informed me. Therefore, I also
you have to say escape.
Exactly.
You're right. I don't know. It's the visuals are gorgeous always. The story is they're ostensibly working on getting home, and a little bit of the problem of the week story, but it's not too bad. There's still a good continuity in it all. And I don't know, the characters and the visuals is what attracts me to it most.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's been a lot of fun for me revisiting this after 20-some years and coming back to see just how. The early season, there's a lot of standalone episodes, right? It's a lot more episodic than I remember it being, but I have the benefit of looking back over 4 seasons, and it sort of blends together as one continuity in my memory, and I sort of forget about the gaps and the episodic nature. But they're so willing to have every episode be its own thing, pick a genre, Till the Blood Runs Clear, which we did I think 7 episodes ago.
Yeah,
that was a Western. Straight up Western. True. You got the kick-ass electric guitar. You got the swagger. It's about Western themes.
Yeah.
And then this time we go for gonzo bananas sci-fi.
It is. It takes place entirely on Moya, and there's it felt a little bit Star Trekian, I suppose. There's a.
It's interesting that you say that. The germ of this episode, written by David Kemper, actually started as a proposed script for Star Trek.
Oh, okay. For Next Generation?
Next Generation, yeah.
It kind of has that feel to it.
It was a very different concept. Originally, it was going to be that they were going to discover a derelict spacecraft with all this gunk on the inside, and what could this be? And then the idea was that it's a life form like a hermit crab that just finds derelict spacecraft, inhabits them,
and was looking for a new ship,
and has outgrown it and needs a new one.
Yes. And now it's eyeing Moya as a upgrade, I suppose.
So vastly different concept by now, but it went through several iterations. That's why it. This episode could have happened at any point.
Yes,
but it sort of got pushed back later in the season because it was so complex to conceptualize and pin down what it wanted to be. But I think it was a great decision because this is. I've said it many times. This is another really seminal episode because this brings the crew together.
Right, I was going to say that. Yeah, it really has the crew working together as a crew.
Yeah.
Facing, I suppose, not even an external threat.
Right.
Yeah, it's just dealing with...
There's no villain.
A problem that... Yeah, there isn't. Just a problem that we've run into and we need to deal with it.
Wow, we're getting really deep into the episode without even having named it. We're talking today about Season 1, Episode 17, Through the Looking Glass, written by David Kemper, who did a great job, directed by Ian Watson, who's back from the Western one that I just talked about.
Yes.
First aired Friday the 10th of September, 1999.
Yes, in which a pregnant mother hold my beer moment causes an inattentive Jerry Springer family to puke and laugh until they learn to count. 1 Mippippippi, 2 Mippippippi, 3...
Yeah, thanks again to Twitter for helping put together these utterly incomprehensible yet 100% factually accurate synopses.
No, very true. It's I understand it now much better than when I read it last week in preparation for this upcoming week.
Let's see if we can keep that going. Thanks again for all your help.
And as a cute little parallel, getting in today's So Far Back machine.
Ah, yes.
We also have a movie which was released in 1999, and it also deals with different worlds, I suppose.
Yeah, we really need a little jingle for the So Far Back machine, I think, by now.
But, so yes, the movie I'm talking about is The Matrix.
Oh!
Which was released in 1999, which is...
Oh, that's interesting,
which is some very interesting parallels. In The Matrix, you have the real world and The Matrix, of course.
Yeah.
Which also has is cinematographically shot in different colors.
Yes, because originally the scenes shot in The Matrix were heavily, heavily green tinted. Now, for the later remasters, once the rest of the trilogy came out, that was sort of toned down.
Right, but it was still there.
It's definitely there. You have it in the. But sometimes if you compare like the imagery of the original trailer, you go, "Whoa, that is super duper green."
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, that kind of color wash. Oh, let's see what the other parallels are. Different costumes? No, not really.
No.
Different types of behavior. There is a different theme to each of the realities.
Right, yes.
One of them, like in the Matrix, it's on the one hand oppression and freedom.
Yeah, and the other one is just drab real life, which with also oppression and
reverse.
freedom. Yeah.
In the real world, everyone is free, but under constant threat.
Yes, and in the Matrix, everybody is, well, still kind of miserable.
Yeah, most of them don't know about it, and those that do have immense power.
Yes.
And agency. Oh, I wonder if there are any other... I mean, the music is kind of cooler in The Matrix.
I suppose, yes.
I guess. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to draw too many parallels. I should get in the spirit of the So Far Back machine, because like 1999, what a year this was. We had Existence, we've already talked about in a previous So Far Back machine. The Matrix, of course, is a seminal work of certainly
art.
For a lot of
by the Coen sisters, I believe it's these days.
The Wachowskis.
Wachowskis, not the Coens. Yeah, sorry, that's one. I'm confusing my sibling pairs in movies.
Yeah.
Yes, the Wachowski sisters now.
Yes, and there have been many readings of The Matrix as a trans allegory, and holy hell does that hold up.
Yeah, there's no mistaking that.
Smith dead-naming Neo.
That's always the one that jumps out, but there's so many more.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole concept of the character Switch was supposed to be a male in one of the two worlds and female in the other one. And they toned that down tremendously, but you can still kind of see it in the way they dress.
They're an androgynous dressed character with I think it's a female actor, but spiky hair and a very tough attitude.
Yep.
What a fantastic film that was! Like it really opened a lot of people up to the concept of predestination, existentialism, the concept of an objective self versus the superego.
Wow, we're getting very deep into movie philosophy here.
This. Yes, you're right.
How about that we prepare for Starburst and get moving with episode 117 through the Looking Glass?
Can't wait.
Prepare for Starburst!
So, scene opens with the crew having a bountiful meal. That's the only thing I can say about it. This is the first time I think we've seen them with actual loads and loads of food.
Yeah, there's so much on the table. It's such a varied spread here.
Yep.
And I think we discover over the course of the episode that everyone's been cooking together.
Yes, everybody's been cooking a few things that they're familiar with and that they've been producing with the available foodstuffs.
Which, how does that work? How can they... Okay, I mean, logistically. So they weren't all cooking together because they don't know what all the dishes are or who made what, and they...
Right. But it looks like many of these are like bread-type things. You've got those little buns, and you've got the crackers, and you've got the other dishes with stuff. So it looks like it's not all of it is hot. Probably most of it isn't hot, actually, from the way it's being
fair
eaten.
Point. You've got like a bowl of blue roe. You've got some multicolored... They sort of look like tea eggs, I want to say.
I suppose, yeah. Cake-like things, the green and the brown ones, and...
the green is pandan.
It kind of looks like
certainly.
No, I know
because,
that's what. Of course, yeah.
Right in the production, anytime that it needed space food, they would send a little runner over to the nearest Chinese supermarket and pick anything that you can't identify and that isn't frozen.
Just make sure it looks weird, and no, totally. But you can see all the things like the ultra pink is also a very
that's going to be a food dye.
But you always see that in a lot of Asian foods, and especially in dessert foods. You see like bright pink is a very popular color there.
That.
Yeah. It's usually rose flavored or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
But there's a lot of banter going on among the crew. Actually, the banter comes later. This is they're
having a very serious conversation here. This is some of the best dialogue that I've heard on Farscape. Like, David Kemper is a kick-ass writer. Each of these characters exhibits a very different point of view because they're discussing a crucial problem that they all share, which is that Moya's pregnancy has inhibited her from starbursting. You saw that 2 episodes ago in Durka's Return.
Because of her child, Moya is unable to starburst for several more hours at least.
Mm-hmm.
And if she's unable to starburst, then
what good is she?
Are we? Yes. Are we safe here?
And both Chiana and Dargo are saying we're going to get off at the next.
Chiana doesn't even get a vote in it. It's
no.
Dargo and Zan.
I must confess my consternation at agreeing with Dargo. But if Moya is no longer able to starburst, then we are all at risk.
So it's really interesting how you've got different pairings that share some viewpoint but not others. Like Dargo and Zan, they're the ones you're thinking of. They're both trying to be cold and objective. They're like Zan. We also always know she's the logical one.
Yes.
But she's coming at it. She's less principled about it than Dargo. Dargo and Aaron both come at it from a place of principle. Because when John says that he's with Aaron doesn't want to leave. John doesn't want to leave either. We should stay together.
We are stronger as the sum of our parts.
And both Dargo and Aaron call him on this idea. Okay, but you're not being honest.
Yeah.
You don't want us to stay together.
That is selfishness masquerading as reason.
He's right, you know. We all want to leave the uncharted territories and return home, but you...
Yes, you would be more content to stay.
I want to get home as badly as anybody else, and this is where the wormholes are.
Fine, so stay, but be honest about your motives, Crichton.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're on their side now?
You want to stay here where the wormholes are because you need us to be here to go home. So don't pretend that it's,
Right. Just be honest about your motives.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which Zan doesn't really chide him on. It's something I've noticed. She generally doesn't demand or expect honesty from other people, nor in fact does she give it. She gives empathy.
Right, yes. Oh, you have a good point there. I hadn't realized that.
It didn't occur to me until I watched this scene, and the listeners at home, just watch this scene again, and you will so much about who these characters are and how they relate to each other was beautifully laid bare in this dialogue. It's only a few minutes, but David Kemper did an incredible job. Certainly because it bookended at the end again with...
Right, yes. And Chiana is trying to get a word in edgewise and nobody's letting her say anything.
Yeah, exactly. Do I get a vote?
No.
No, there's a little
That's
bit
the one thing that everyone seems to agree on.
Yeah, she doesn't get a vote. She's clearly not accepted as a full crew member yet.
No. I know I just got here, but can I please say something?
I think
instead, John asked Rigel for his vote because you've got Aaron and John, they want to stay. Zan and Dargo, they think it's more reasonable to leave.
Yeah.
And he asked Rigel, and Rigel has this fantastic speech saying that Moya has been our protector,
our home, our companion, and our friend.
Amen.
However, as relationships grow, they also change.
So can we sell her?
Yes, he tries to get trade her in for something faster, is I believe what he says.
But you can totally imagine Rigel giving this same speech about, like, Erin if she were in a coma or whatever.
Totally, yeah, maybe we can sell her for parts. This gets him earns him the honor of being addressed as Your Lowness.
Yes, I had that written down as well.
Moya is not a possession, Your Lowness.
If you ignore the messenger, which is effortless, the message is sound.
Oh, this whole scene is so good. Like, if we could get away with it for copyright reasons, we'd probably just paste the whole one here.
Oh, that would be good, but I don't think that falls under fair use anymore at that
No,
point.
exactly.
Yeah. I did notice, even before it became relevant to the story, that there was a little scuttlebutt sitting on the shelf.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, well, what's that DRD doing literally sitting on a shelf? That's not particularly a place where you usually find one, since they're usually scuttling about the floor.
Okay, now we've got to do this. You've heard of Elf on a Shelf. Now, but what about DRD on a
TV?
Or Scuttlebutt? Can we do something with that? What about Scuttlebutt
on the trot? No.
Well, we'll leave that to our listeners at home. Please give us your best Elf on a Shelf version for a DRD. You can get at us at SoFarscape. Meanwhile, like, aside from having this recent discussion, they're also complaining about the food.
Yes.
They don't seem to be enjoying it at all. None of them.
Especially John's cooking seems to be disregarded.
Yeah, what is this?
Who made this shellac?
Recipe called for chicken. All I had was space rodent.
And then everybody spits it. Why is space rodent a problem?
I don't know. Like, maybe it's just a thing that they don't like. I mean, it's like maybe it's something the DRD swept up from in a corner. I don't know. It's
also weird that it's Dargo who complains about it after he was the one who asked for extra. Pass me that.
Pass me those and don't help yourself.
Yes.
Whoa.
Who did he say that to?
I think it's... Oh, that's a good question.
I thought it was Chiana, but I'm not entirely sure.
It's Aaron sitting next to him.
Yeah, he was very
greedy
about it. Like, pass it that and don't help yourself, which is like kind of rude way to...
I do kind of get it, because it all looks great.
It does. It looks fantastic. I'm not sure if it would taste as so good, but, you know...
And it's a lot of food for even
it is. So
5 or 6 people.
They must have had some sort of windfall that food is suddenly not a problem anymore. But anyway... Pilot interjects.
Excuse the intrusion, but Moya and I would like a word about your deliberations.
Having noticed the conversation, especially with the trend being towards maybe ditching Moya. And he basically says, like, well, we really want you guys to stay because we're happiest when we are serving people, when we are providing care and transport for people.
And your presence is a comfort to us. Wow, like, we'd never looked at it from Pilot's perspective, and certainly not Moya's.
In a way, this has been mentioned before. That there, I don't remember which episode it was, but there has been definitely a scene in which the same sentiment was expressed, but that they're saying, that's what we do. It's like we are there to serve, and that's. I guess it was in the one where they ripped off.
That's what I was thinking. DNA Mad Scientist, episode 9.
Yeah, that's. I think that came up at the time.
Darko has indeed taken it for granted. He says Pilot is a servicer.
Right, exactly.
Right, understanding that about his nature,
taking that for granted, and even though it is given willingly and freely, doesn't mean that you shouldn't appreciate it. And it seems to be a bit of Dargo's problem,
because it's Gianna who's been trying to, like, she's been asking to speak this whole time and getting shot down, and the thing that she wanted to say is,
the DRDs have ears. No wonder you guys have been flying around in circles.
Everyone tries to reassure Pilot that they're just having a conversation. We're just sharing ideas.
Right.
This is the marketplace of ideas.
But Pilot is having none of it and wishes to prove the worth of himself and Moya by actually Moya wants to do it, I believe.
Yes, it's Moya's idea.
By starbursting, even though she hasn't recharged sufficiently, apparently, to
she needed another 50 arns.
Yes.
But she wants to prove that in case of emergency, and he even says it from Moya's own perspective, like Moya agrees with you.
She shares your concerns about being recaptured and wishes to prove to you all that she is capable.
And so she wants to demonstrate it. I don't think that's the case at all. I think Moya and Pilot, as a sort of team, are trying to, I guess, ingratiate themselves, or
yes, I would consider this to be an insecurity, but that they're trying to overcome. To overcome, yes, and that's clearly they're providing transport, they're providing home, safety, everything. It's like they have very little that they can complain about that they're not doing. So this seems like I said, it feels like a bit of an insecurity on their side that they're.
I wonder if maybe Moya is just worried about getting saddled with only John.
Oh, that could be.
No, hold on, wait. Imagine that you're Pilot. Imagine that you're Moya.
Yeah.
Which of the Moyans would you least like to have as your only guest, as your only passenger?
Rigel?
Rigel is the easiest.
Yes.
He's also tiny.
Yeah, that's true. And on the other hand, John would be happy to just go around and look for star charts, I suppose.
You have star charts.
Oh, like that's been such a priority. He does like wormholes. He does like all sorts of dangerous stuff.
He does, yes. True. So that, I guess that would leave Moya with the problem is like, what you going to do if he does find an active wormhole? Is she going to go through and like suddenly end up on Earth? That would be a bit of an
adventure.
Yeah, that's for sure. But no other Leviathans there. So, she'll...
that's why it's a bit of a shame, because last week we dealt with the potential of John returning home in a human reaction.
Yes.
But there were a lot of perspectives that we didn't get to see. We didn't get to see Zahn's perspective on it, nor Pilot. We didn't get a closing a button. Like, would Pilot and Moya have wanted to go to Earth? It's far from Peacekeeper territory.
Yeah.
Right? They'd be safe, relatively speaking.
It seems to mesh with Pilot's thing of wanting to see the universe.
Yeah.
So I suppose that he wouldn't mind. As for Moya, I don't know how she feels about like being around an area where there's probably not that many Leviathans. On the other hand, if she is there at Earth, she might know how to get back. Once Moya arrives at Earth, she might be able to like, I can like
here we are,
extrapolate the star positions and know which way we're supposed to be going.
Oh, well, a shame that didn't come up. Gosh, we're delving into writing an entirely different first season.
I think I should have been in the writing team of this series.
Well, this wouldn't be much of a podcast then, would it?
No, true.
You would be explaining it to me.
It would be a very different podcast, yes. And all this happens before the credits. This is we are like, how long into this episode already?
Feels like plus 30.
Well, I've been enjoying your company, unlike everybody at this table. So, Starburst is initiated. Everybody continues to try to eat. Moya zaps off, and we go to the credits.
Yeah.
After
there's a big explosion.
There's a big explosion.
Everybody has horrible Starburst experiences because apparently it's not a very pleasant place to go through. Rigel being the most one, always the most vocal about hating Starburst.
I hate Starburst.
Nobody
he
seems
to eat.
Really enjoy this. Yeah, I noticed that as well. It's like he doesn't seem to be particularly affected by it.
Now, this really is incredible.
My favorite on the table.
What? Smoked prawn sinew. It's quite easy to make, really.
Before everything explodes and they get knocked all over the place. We go to the credits and come back to find our heroes picking themselves off the floor while looking out the windows at something that they haven't seen outside those windows before, instead of a nice black Starfield or even the blue screensaver that I like so much.
This is just a big white light.
It's blazing white.
Yep.
They've got no communication with Pilot. I've got to say, everything looked really weird, bathed in this white light. It was really overlit. It sort of looked, honestly, a little fake. Right, it looked like a set.
It is a bit of the point. All the highlights. Everything gets highlit and stark construction type lighting. But,
yes, exactly. It's never very flattering. A bright, direct light is not flattering, even on a beauty like Moya.
But all the food is strewn about. The ship is in disarray. Dargo starts shouting orders, runs out into the corridor, and disappears in a flash of red light.
Oh, shouting orders is a mean thing to say. He divides up the tasks, assigns them to everyone, and everyone is, down with it.
Yeah.
I'll check command. You look after pilot, and you do damage assessment.
I'm going to command, you go to pilot, you find this, you find the DRDs.
Because for some reason they can't contact pilot here, which I didn't quite get.
Pilot is not appearing in the hollow clamshell.
Yes.
We need to get to command, see what's happening there. We need to get the pilots then to see if he's okay. We need to do some check for damage. But instead,
because Dargo disappears in a flash of red light.
Yeah.
Aaron takes over, saying, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to pilot or do you want to go to command? And then does exactly the same thing, except she disappears in a flash of blue light.
Pilot or command?
Command.
You fix her arm and then straight to command.
We're left pretty confused now. John is wandering about, bereft of the two people who seem to have a plan. He runs up to command, where he sees out the front portal just more white.
Yeah, and apparently in command he can talk to pilot, so it must be the local clamshell problem or something.
Clamshell malfunction.
Yes.
He operates all the giant Ouija boards and is unable to make sense of anything, nor is pilot. Nothing that they're
the readings
observing.
make sense. Pilot can't contact the DRDs. DRDs are apparently offline, or I don't really see another DRD the rest of the episode. I noticed.
Oh no, that's true.
Yeah, there are no DRDs anywhere in the rest of the episode.
Oh, there was one more job, which was taking care of Zan. Zan's been injured.
Oh yeah, she tore a tendon or a fiber as she calls it.
It's my arm. The fibers are torn.
And there's a bit of her and Chiana bickering about Chiana just trying to I'm just going to go and leave. Going to take a shot, take one of the transport modules, and I'm out of here. Bye.
I know how to fly a transport pod, and I'm getting off this ship.
Looking out for number one, being a total little brat again.
Well, yes, but immediately after the explosion, immediately after Zan stood up, it was Chiana that was helping her stand back up again, and Zan reassured her, "No, don't worry, I'll be fine once I heal."
Once the fibers regenerate or whatever she calls it.
Chiana's often described as mercurial because yes, once everything's settled, once she's got her bearings, she actually kind of wants off the ship. She takes a transport pod, which she knows how to pilot and fly away. But in a moment of crisis, she does actually care about the people that are around her. That is her first instinct.
True.
Strangely enough,
briefly as though it may last.
Much like a cat.
I suppose, yeah. That makes sense.
She's flighty.
But yeah, John informs her that the pilot can't open the outer doors, and therefore good luck flying the transport around in the cargo hold. Yep. But you're stuck here with us, milady.
And tells her to calm down, trust us.
Yeah.
Pilot's on the job.
An incredible amount of confidence that he's trying to project. And once again, Crichton understands where Chiana's coming from, that her desire to leave is not as reasonable as she's presenting it. She's actually scared.
Yeah, she's panicking, basically.
And he wants her to understand that he gets it, and he's trying to reassure her.
Then there's a lot of running through corridors, which I noticed. There's this entire episode is running through corridors.
I think it's because Ian Watson directed this one, and the last one that he did was Till the Blood Runs Clear, which didn't take place on Moya barely at all. Mm-hmm. So he just had a great time running around. Oh, finally, it's all on this great spaceship that I haven't been on before. I get to shoot it in so many colors and so many angles.
And it's it felt almost like filler material. That there's I understand that they're trying to create a certain atmosphere, but there is literally minutes of just walking around corridors and stumbling around and looking, and it does purvey a sense of distress and uncertainty. And cinematographically speaking, it's all shot beautiful.
It's gorgeous,
but it doesn't advance the plot very fast. And actually, if you think about it, the entire story of this episode is only 3 sentences.
No, I think that's entirely fair to say, because that was also my memory of this episode in thinking back on it before I remembered the dinner scenes. I didn't remember it being very very significant because in 1999 I was a very different khaki. I didn't appreciate things the way that I do now, and I remembered it mostly as a lot of running around finding narrative dead ends until they duck into the right narrative corridor that happens to actually resolve the plot. But Okay, so when I was asking about when I asked on Twitter to help name this episode, some people who responded said that this was their absolute favorite episode.
Oh?
And I can sort of understand why. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of running around. It feels more Star Trek-y than that, where certainly in Star Trek: The Next Generation, there's a lot of this, running around and bumping into narrative dead ends until you get to unlock the plot. But in the meantime, these characters are being moved forward a lot. We see so much of Moya, and yes, this could be 10 minutes shorter, but it also feels like I wouldn't want an extra subplot. Right, there is enough.
Oh no, totally, yeah.
There's exactly enough for everyone to do. Well, except for Zahn.
But it really couldn't use a B plot. No, that's like it makes no sense to throw that in here. This is all about the current crisis and trying to resolve it. And having someone else stuck in a shuttle outside Moya, it doesn't really.
Oh God, we left that in parallel. No, and also, it's not bad seeing Ben Browder sprint and lurch and duck and, okay, maybe not puke, which is what he's doing now that
Quite
he's arrived
in
the red light district.
Oh, yes, he finally stumbles into one of the weird flashy light zone things, and he arrives in the red Moya, which is like all shot in double vision and bright red light. And
there's a great shot where he opens his eyes and the camera zooms in on his eye to suggest that this light is just accosting him and hurting him and making him sick. The double vision is a great way that it's visualized. I don't know whether they filmed the same sequence twice and then overlaid those over each other, or whether they filmed it once and then like overlaid each other with like a 1 second delay.
It doesn't look like a time shift. I think they were like filmed twice. I think they were just used from they just threw different takes from the same shot together to get this effect.
Oh, that must have been well rehearsed then.
I would suppose so. Or maybe they just did a lot of takes. So because, something we didn't touch on is like apparently Pilot gets the DRDs back under control and he can tell like, okay, Dargo is over there.
He's in the galley
and Erin is somewhere else and they go looking for them and they don't find them there. And
the DRDs can detect them, but they can't see each other.
And it's not until John moves into the Red universe that he actually finds Dargo, who seems to be...
he doesn't find Dargo. Dargo finds him, but is unable to catch his attention.
I saw you earlier on. What the hell's happened to you?
Because John is wearing that terrible turban.
Yes.
He's taken his other grey T-shirt and wrapped it around his eyes.
I think it's like he pulls it up and down as a blindfold for himself to shield himself from the red light, which is apparently painful.
And so Crichton lurches back to the command, where again he can't find anyone, but he does hear a weird noise.
Yes.
And what do you do when you hear a weird noise?
You look up at it.
Climb on a table in this case, and you do some pull-ups.
Yeah, so I think he jumps up, and this sucks him into the blue universe.
Which is loud.
Yes, apparently it's very noisy there.
Just a reassurance to the listeners at home, we will not be using any sound effects from the blue world. This is also an editing note to future Kaki. Do not use that.
Yes. So
it's terrible. It's piercing and it's shrill and
Yeah, so at this point I was starting to think like, okay, like I hadn't really cottoned on to what exactly was going on in the Red universe. I was just like, okay, something is weird here, and I wasn't sure what was causing I wasn't sure if it was nausea or discomfort, or I hadn't noticed it was pain pretty much. The blue one was sound, so then I'm starting to think like, okay, so if like the blue one has loud sound, then what is the red one? And what else is going to happen? So at this point I was trying to figure out what was going on. And that is when I noticed that there were no DRDs in the other worlds.
Right, yes. Very good.
What is that out there?
I would labour to discover that once the DRDs re-establish internal tracking.
But yes, the blue one is very noisy, and it's quite a funny scene when he finally finds Erin, and they try to you can almost make out what they're saying, but they're shouting and gesturing at each other,
and you can barely hear them.
Erin is mimicking Dargo with the tentacles and the sword and everything like that.
Okay, now for the listeners at home, we're going to play charades on a podcast. Yes. Let's see how well we do.
And to be honest, my favorite is Crichton when he starts talking about Rigel, and he just basically holds his hands above like
he's holding a little flower
doing a
pot
Tai Chi, and he's bobbing around.
Well, he's got his mouth sort of downturned.
And then he does the ear-brows thing. And it's...
What, handsome with a great sexual prowess?
They figure it out pretty well.
Oh yeah, they catch on to. They can't really communicate about what's going on, but they do clearly indicate that they're like going to go looking for them.
Yeah. Even when they split up, like Aaron says, "I'm going to go looking for, or let's go looking for Dargo and Rigel."
Right. Well, first there's a little bit of confusion when Crichton takes her back to command to find his pull-up bar, expecting that to work again.
And she's like, "Okay, now is not the time.
Yeah,
yes, you've got big guns. Cool."
Just to be in the warm glow of all this testosterone.
Cool.
Like, what are you doing? It's like, this makes no sense.
On the way back, they're briefly interrupted, or no, they don't notice it at this point, but we see these sort of claw scratches through the air.
Yes.
They look so cool.
It's like the crack in reality that you had in Doctor Who in the what was that, Cry Wolf? No, the Bad Wolf plotline.
No, this was the Bad Wolf. That was the Tennant era. I know what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
You're thinking about the Matt Smith era where there was the crack. That was separate from Bad Wolf.
Oh, okay. I
That was
thought those
the
were
crack
connected.
in Amy Pond's bedroom.
Right. Yes, that's the one.
Hey, challenge me to a nerd off, will you?
So yeah, after being in command, they decide to go check out Rigel's quarters because that's the one they're still missing. They haven't found Rigel yet.
Aaron keeps a lookout in the hallway. Crichton goes inside. He sees the painting and he notices something. He's got his little memo recorder is in Rigel's quarters.
Yes. Rigel's been nicking his stuff again, hasn't he? Yep.
What the hell are you doing?
Your equipment may be worth something in trade.
My equipment. It's mine.
Are you a sound sleeper?
So he reaches for it, and his hand disappears, and it sucks his entire body through.
There's a little bit back and
there.
forth as he experiments with it, but he quickly gets sucked through. He disappears. Aaron is kind of like, where'd he go? Gets her gun out immediately, waving it about. But it turns out that John is now in the Yellow universe,
which is basically a frat house. It's got a weed haze.
It's crack. It's like everybody is happy. Everybody is like laughing. It's like, I mean, it's
Rigel
like,
especially.
It's the nitrous oxide universe, I suppose.
Oh, don't do drugs, kids, because they're too awesome. Rigel seems to be enjoying it a great deal.
He's laughing his ass off, basically. He's telling bad jokes, which
with
barely even.
Yes, they're not funny at all.
They're not
Nothing
even jokes, really.
Is,
But John gets cackling along, and but he's the one who's trying to retain his composure.
Shut up! Just shut up! No.
Yeah, I mean, it begins with him just being relieved. Oh, lights okay, sounds okay.
No pain, no discomfort.
Yeah.
Oh, this
cool.
Is like,
okay,
this is the nice place.
But it turns out to be a place where it's very hard to concentrate. Pretty soon
Focus and do anything, yes.
Laughing along to Rigel's non-jokes.
Yep. But still trying to... He actually grabs Rigel's mouth at some point to shut him up. Holding him still.
And, Ben did a really good job at doing this sort of frat boy, super high, barely keeping it together.
Trying to...
Even
like he's been there. You can tell him that he's like...
It's just great. It's great.
I can relate to that a lot. Like when he's trying to like keep it together and be serious and go and do stuff, it's almost as if Crichton was aware that there was a camera there that he was trying to perform with. It's like on those occasions, I don't know if anyone listening to this has had this experience, but when you're super duper fucked up and then you're walking down the street and you see regular people passing them,
and you go like,
I hope they don't see how fucked up I am. I hope I don't do anything weird. Wow, am I doing something weird right now? Am I walking right? Do I do left foot, left hand, right hand?
Centipede's lemma.
I don't need drugs. I've got true love. You don't need drugs if you've got true love.
So he manages to keep it together well enough to hear that sound again. Because
that's what it is. Because I was wondering what made him decide to climb into that same tunnel. The same tunnel that they originally were in when they discovered that Moya was pregnant, when they were hunting for
now I noticed
peacekeeper
here,
devices.
He opens the door and he ducks down. This tunnel seems to grow because at first Dargo could only like get his head in. And they had to send in Rigel, and then the next time he could shimmy in with his sword.
Different type of conduits.
Probably.
Yes.
I like to think that maybe Moya is sort of accommodating them and realizing that, they want to go through the ventilation shafts.
I need to relax my veins a little bit.
Better increase the aperture. Because she probably does that a lot. She has, I guess, a lot of control, or maybe it's even intuitive that she can alter the layout of her interior. I mean, the interior is just there for passengers.
True. Although it is presumably also part of her biological makeup.
Right.
But yes, he goes, gets on with a gleeful giggle. He gets on the slide and slips on down through another flashy hole.
He's back in the white universe.
The regular place, yes. The multichromatic, everything is
overexposed.
Correct.
Right. He makes his way onto the command where Chiana and Zahn are already conversing with Pilot. Because Pilot has been sending them on a merry chase through Moya.
Throughout the ship, trying to find where everybody else is. Yeah.
And they're sort of bickering, like, you've given us false information.
Yet again.
The DRD still show Officer Sun on Tier 2. Rigel outside the center chamber. Dargo in...
Competent. You got it wrong, Forearms. They're nowhere.
Your inability to locate them does not negate the fact
that they are there.
The mistake is with you.
The imperfection is yours.
The imperfection is yours. Yes, that's the one.
Way to stand up for yourself, Pilot.
Right. But also turns out that he has not been giving them all the information that he had.
Right.
Because turns out they're still in Starburst.
Yeah.
It's like Moya didn't have enough power to push through, and she pushed into Starburst, but not out of Starburst again. And
yeah. This is so cool. We learned so much about what Starburst is. It's sort of coasting along the seam between space-times.
Yes, tearing a rift to somewhere else and then just like drifting along.
Until you get pushed out again at seemingly random.
Yeah, so that makes you think, does she have no control over where Starburst ends? You have only direction and then you just like kind of guess like how far away you're going to get?
Yes, that seems to be it. Because in Jeremiah Crichton, when they Starburst away... Mm-hmm. They were able to eventually backtrack over the course of 3 months all the planets that were along the path. So
right.
But
what do they use to do that? The hedge drive? I mean, does Moya have a hedge drive as well?
This is also how they've been tracked down in the past.
Yes.
Even when they have a fairly random vector, they can still be found. Or no, they have a
random distance. Yeah.
What's it called? The other one. What's the other one from a vector? Scalar. So right. they have a determined vector and they have an but then they also the vector was wrong and exit vectors.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's like the tech talk hasn't caught up sufficiently yet to be able to.
No, I choose to believe otherwise. I choose to believe that the science that is involved is different from ours. That our understanding of the universe is inadequate. To describe its true majesty, and that whoever built the Leviathans had a better idea.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
but yeah, we see a lovely shot from the outside, which has like a Moya split into 3 parts: red, blue, and yellow.
Oh, and a real Moya in the middle. So you've got you've got. Now, this is something that only CGI can do. It's so beautiful.
Oh, of course.
Because yes, after Crichton describes what he's got, and Pilot even asks for more information, please. Which,
yes,
that is science talk.
When John is trying to explain about multiple dimensions and stuff like that, and
Pilot, he's doing a lot of science.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
And Pilot manages to correlate. And Pilot manages to correlate that to what he understands about how Starburst works.
Yeah, the mathematical hypothesis, dimensional schism.
Right, and then like Zahn comes out with the zingers like, hypothesi don't just materialize. And I'm like, no, that's exactly what hypotheses do. It's like,
when they materialize, they turn out to have been facts.
Or not, or incorrect, but it's like, yeah. So that was a bit of a weird like interjection from Zahn there. That didn't make a lot of sense.
There's an even weirder interjection from Chiana, which is she recognizes this phenomenon.
Yes, apparently it destroyed her species' star system.
One of their star systems, because they seem to be a colonial. Yeah, but what's weird is you have this teenager, this thief, and she seems to know the ins and outs of, essentially the what's it called? The Philadelphia experiment.
Right? Yes.
Like as if she would be, as if she as a citizen would know about the Philadelphia experiment or whatever the equivalent is.
True. I mean, it did disappear a star system, so I guess it kind of led. There was probably an inquiry about it and like something published.
And then they admitted that, oh yes, this was secret weapons research we were doing.
sometimes you can't, like, that's what happened with Hiroshima.
Okay.
They kind of had to come out with it at that point. It's like, what was this? Yeah, it's a new bomb.
But that was, in Hiroshima, that was kind of the point. Like, it was an intimidation weapon.
No, but I'm saying, like, imagine that, like, things had gone wrong at Trinity and, like, a large part of the Utah had gone missing.
Oh, dear.
They kind of had to explain something about it at some point,
Yeah, you can't say it's a gas leak or it's
exactly.
the moonlight reflecting off of Venus.
So yeah, there's that.
So they know they're in trouble, and Pilot wants to go forward.
Yes.
They need more thrust from all 4 Moyas, and so he teaches John this sequence of, like, on his giant boppet.
Right.
You got to twist this, turn this until it's yellow, wait for that to go orange, then hop on one leg, bark like a dog, and do a backflip.
Pull the green thing. And I love that scene, actually. I thought it was really cool how John was, like, interacting with Pilot and like stepping between his arms and the console. And
he's on the other side of the console.
Yeah,
now.
that must have been a really fun scene to shoot.
Especially because he's also, like, he's relating to Pilot while he's trying to study all this, and he says, "Well, I'll try." No, but you really have to do it exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll still try.
Yes.
But he also, like, he tells Pilot that
Moya did not have to go into starburst until she was ready.
No.
And Pilot is like, okay, now is not the time for recrimination. And he actually touches Pilot on the shoulder.
Yes.
Like, that wasn't recrimination.
No.
And he doesn't say it, but that was an apology.
Right, yes.
Right, on behalf of people who are not prone to apologizing, as we've seen before.
Very true, very true.
But man, how nice it must be to like... I'm a huge fan of Pilot. I would love to hang out with him and give him a hug if he's into that sort of thing. Like,
He doesn't seem like the type, but I don't know.
And he's just so big.
He is. He's like his head is like 3 times the size of a human head, and it's not even counting the mushroom cap.
What a challenge it must have been for the puppeteers, by the way, to maintain eye contact with John. But I guess they're Muppeteers and they know this.
Yeah, that's like. I mean, it's possible that the eyes were just controlled by someone using wire remote controls who could actually see what he was doing.
Oh yeah,
you've got people in there moving the arms and the body and doing other things, but stuff like the face is often done with wire controls.
Right, true.
Kind of like bike cables, brake cables, that kind of stuff they use. A lot
Yeah,
for that.
yeah.
You've got these like constructions things with their hands with like which each finger controls one of the wires and they can move them around and you can like they
a lot of really cool gesturing that you're doing on our audio only podcast. No, I'm really enjoying it because that's probably what it looked like. There at times there would be 6 or 7 people operating Pilot. Doing his various hydraulics and arms, and of course the console had to move as well.
Right.
We've got all these panels.
We see a lot of that coming up and down the console, like things moving up and down, getting pushed back down again. We can see a little bit more of that. It seems like a fairly clumsy console, but then again, he's got like these big pincer hands, so I guess it kind of has to be big to accommodate him.
So they have a plan now. We're going to turn on propulsion, but now
they get some guns because now they've seen the rifts being dragged through the air, like someone's claws are ripping reality apart, leaving golden trails.
Yeah, these scratches look so cool because they're scratches like through 3D space, right? That occasionally intersect with bits of Moya's internal ribbing,
leaving glowing gashes, actually.
Yes, those beautiful glowing gashes. So yeah, the Crichton finally gets a gun.
Kung Fu never carried a gun.
He grabs a gun in response to a crisis, and so does Zan, and so does Chiana.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they trusted Chiana with a gun, but yeah, it's... Crichton goes and decides he needs to go back to the other universes, but not until after he gets stalked by these glowing gashes, and we see this like view of Crichton from the viewpoint of whatever is making these reality gashes.
Really long shot. So you've got this liminal like haze of light around it, and a really close up of John while he's trying to look sort of disinterested because he knows we need to fill about 7 seconds before we go to credits.
I don't know. It sounded look a bit like a job face. That I would say.
This is a PG-13 podcast.
Sorry. No face, can't say that.
Don't make me.
It looked like
I have to edit this.
Okay.
No.
So we get a long close up of him, and we see John's surprised face.
I'm going to leave the original take in there. Don't worry about it. So you can try and muffle it all you like. Everybody knows that you're one of those sex perverts.
Oh, you're just going to put little scuttlebutt beeps over the.
That's right.
That's the one. Okay.
So they know what to do. They're going to split up.
Yes.
Zan is going to stay behind because she's got her broken arm and she's going to keep an eye out for the creature, I think. And he's taking Chiana
with him,
whom he calls Pip.
You ready, Pip?
Yes.
Pip means...
My favorite traveling companion.
Is that a reference to something?
Oh,
Pipsqueak? I mean, I suppose.
Crap. No, I opened my mouth thinking that I remembered exactly what it was, and now I'm drawing a blank. I will get back to you on that one. Wow.
Let's go with Pipsqueak for the time being.
And takes her to the red world.
Right.
Back into the maintenance bay where, hey, by the way, they're not very good about cleaning up their tools after they're done with. They just leave them lying around.
In all fairness, things were jostled around quite a bit when Starburst went wrong, so maybe that's like to their credit. But yes, John immediately goes back into migraine mode, and Chiana's just standing there going like, does this make you uncomfortable?
Fine.
Doesn't affect me. And she is like super smug and bratty about it.
I thought you said this red light hurt your head.
It does.
Well, not to me.
So cool. Like, just different biology, responds differently. She's fine with it. It doesn't affect her at all.
But she is like super annoying about it. Like, and she keeps like, she reminds everybody about it like every few seconds. Yeah. They find Dargo, who has like dug out his airsoft mask, which he's wearing.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. It's like, kind of looks like one.
What a relief it must have been for Anthony Simcoe that he didn't have to go in full makeup for this one. Oh, I can just wear a helmet? Hey.
No, I'm pretty sure that he's still in full makeup under that, because like he's still got his like big nose sticking out from under that. Like,
oh, that is true.
Or maybe over it. It's like, yeah, it's like it would probably only made it worse rather than easier, because he takes it off as well. So, but yeah, does it help? And he goes like,
barely. I only retch every once in a while now.
They get accosted by the claw creature once again, but now everyone's ready. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, shooting at it. We actually see Dargo shooting his Keyblade.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen it a few times, just not nearly as often as he swung it pointlessly or...
Yeah, swung slammed it into someone.
John teaches Dargo the hokey cokey.
Yeah. Because Chiana, for some reason, decides that she is not going to be left alone here.
Yes.
Although she is perfectly comfortable here,
I'm not going to be left alone.
Yeah, I will not be that. And she's like, super bratty and like...
I thought this was great. I thought this was a great, like, a separation of this is not Star Trek, this is Farscape.
Yeah.
Like, decisions are motivated not by logic, but by people, and people are sometimes illogical. Yes, it would make the most sense for Chiana to go, oh, I seem to be the best suited, I will stay here and perform the necessary function to propel the plot.
And she is like, nope.
Nope, I do not want to, because I am outski.
Yeah, this is dangerous, there's like shit going on here. I don't... Well, she does have a weapon, but...
Yeah, she'll help with some things and not with others. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because,
so Dargo does the stoic self-sacrificing. I've suffered through this so long, I can keep it up.
He has more suffering coming up because as Crichton is about to leave, he retches again, and Dargo's like, no.
Not here. Go. I do not want that here.
No.
And he seems to be like particularly put out by John throwing up. Even
he has a very sensitive nose.
I guess so. I mean, it's big enough.
Well, he could smell John from across a market.
True.
So yeah, he's stuck in there in the puke room, but he's not the one who has the worst time of it. That's probably Chiana when she gets taken to the to blue space.
Yes,
because this noise, she cannot handle it.
No, she's. I mean, it even like physically makes her going all blurry and digitally.
Yeah, she sort of inverts there, which is weird for a grey person.
Yeah, it's like it's a really weird effect that they use there when she like literally goes completely.
Yes, I know the effect from Photoshop as posterization, where things that are black are turned white, so the deepest shadows are actually inverted, but the rest of the color stay the same.
Right. Yes.
Crichton realizes that I can't do anything until I take care of her.
So she just picks her up and carries her along and leaves her in her misery. Obviously not. She picks her up, but like I'll just like let her be miserable while I'll carry her around and. But
I mean, there's nothing he can do for her.
No, but he correctly realizes that the only thing he can do is get her out of this the blue universe as fast as he can.
Goes to Rigel's quarters, explains to her, I'm going to throw you through somewhere, puts her up and lets her drop down. He does not check whether the yellow universe is any worse for her. No, because he goes off to find.
I mean, I guess he figures that like it can't be worse than this one. You know?
Yeah.
after dumping her through the hole, he goes find Aaron again, who has been doing tech things.
God, she's just got to give up on this whole class thing. She's a nerd. She's a fixer. She's Adam Savage.
She kind of still like hangs on to it. Like he calls her out on it a little. Oh, you've been doing your homework, I see.
Because no, this is military tech. It's battle hard. It's like it's legit. Wow.
But yeah, she's converted it to like, I guess, produce anti-sound or something, and they can just like talk to each other normally now.
He tells her that they need to activate propulsion, and she says, "Okay, yeah, I've got it." And John goes, "Wait. Do you know how to do that?"
Like,
yes, obviously. Pilot was very specific, and then they go through the whole Cokie together. Okay, you turn this, you
do the blue thing, and like she knows it perfectly. And I love how she's just like grinning, and they're both smiling at each other. I thought it was a fantastic scene.
They say some really cool shit to each other. One of them is she's still got bits of his DNA, so that's how she knows how to do that. Apparently, like genetic memory. And John says it's going to be harder to doubt you.
Yeah, they're both like happily laughing at each other. John moves on to the yellow universe where Chiana and Rigel are having a whale of a time.
Having a great time. So them being useless, they're sitting around. For some reason, they're already on Pilot's console, but they're not doing anything useful there. So Crichton does the hand jive,
quickly puts the engines into full forward,
jumps back into the white universe to say that we're all good to go, but it's still not helping.
Nope.
They can't seem to move forward, and they're still under threat from this claw creature that seems to be coming closer.
Which shows up, gets shot at, doesn't leave, but John works out that the claw marks that it's been leaving are all in a series of prime numbers.
Prime numbers,
so
yes.
1 claw mark, 3 claw mark, 5, 7,
11.
Yeah.
Because that's how you communicate intelligence. I like it that apparently prime numbers are real. In this universe as well. Although, are prime numbers in other base counting systems?
Yes, but you write them differently.
But are they still prime numbers then?
I would think so, yes.
In that base counting system, right?
No, but that doesn't make a difference.
Doesn't it?
No.
It doesn't, does it?
No, it doesn't. Numbers
no,
still
you just have fewer numbers.
Yeah, you only have a different way. The number doesn't change. You just write it in a different... you just group them differently. You write them in a different... a number suddenly doesn't become divisible by another number just because you write it in a different base system.
Right. Doesn't it?
No, I wouldn't think so.
No, that probably doesn't make sense. I just never thought about it before.
No.
Do you know what? I should just go into the yellow universe and get super duper high and get philosophical with Rigel about this. Hey, do you ever think about if prime numbers... I mean, you've got 3 fingers.
I'm pretty sure Rigel has never thought about prime numbers in his life.
No.
But John walks up to the thing, despite Zahn's... reservations, and just walks into the big glowing hole.
Okay, so you're talking about like John having this realization that they're actually being communicated with and like unlocking the whole episode, but you're missing the most important part of this scene. Zahn has a new outfit.
Your vestments.
Her old outfit, really.
Yes.
She's put her vestments back on.
There's a bit of a throwaway line, which is such a shame for such an important arc that even though I gave up, I'm just going to drop in the quote here because I don't remember exactly.
I suddenly realized I'd forsaken the priesthood in practice, but not in my soul.
Yes. Well, she doesn't think that their chances of survival are very high at this point. So she turns back to religion a little bit.
You're thinking this is a deathbed conversion?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's also John's motivation when he decides to stick his head through this thing, even though Pilot's screaming at him to shoot at it because Moya's very scared.
And distressed.
At the worst, he says,
I'll be dead a few minutes before you. That's all.
Which is very fatalistic, but...
Sticks his head through, and then... we arrive in, I want to say, like a 1992 MTV music video for, like, Korn, if they were operating then.
Yeah, it's just white space with this big, blobby, tentacly thing floating around, also split out into 3 colors.
Hey, did you guys get video through all that?
As is John, it's all super weird, and this is a trans-dimensional creature that apparently has been trying to communicate with them.
Right, who is actually tasked in repairing rifts in time-space continuum, I suppose.
In the space between,
yes.
Which it says your mental organ is unable to interpret it. So, okay, if this is a multi-dimensional creature... that's 5-dimensional, 6, 7, whatever. And John is in there with 3-dimensional, well, counting time, 4-dimensional eyes and a brain. He's probably seeing the interior of this creature as well as the exterior at the same time, and unable to process that.
Yeah.
What a cool idea! And it's it's here when we realize like, it's an incredibly empathetic creature. Because it's tasked with really repairing these damages.
Yeah, and destroying all matter that comes in from the other universe.
But it's never happened with living matter before.
Yes.
And so it's not doing that.
Exactly.
It wants to save them.
Yes, it wants to help them get out. And it offers exactly the information that they need. Because, like, Pilot is trying to push forward, but it says, no, you can't push forward.
No, he's trying to... Did we say it wrong the first time?
We might have, yes.
Okay, because originally, please don't add us about this. Add us about the other cool shit with the elf on the shelf, and not about the fact that we may have gotten it wrong. Because I think that is
Pilot's trying to reverse.
Pilot was trying to reverse. Yes, that's right, and that's the wrong way to go.
And they have to push forward.
They have to push forward.
Yes.
Wow, it's a very confusing sort of headspace that we're in.
Only going forward, because still can't find reverse. But. That's from an entirely different...
yes, okay. So I got the order of all of this wrong. That's why I missed out on mentioning a really cool bit. Yeah, that's right. Okay, throughout all this, apologies to the listeners at home who've been screaming into their headphones this whole time. They've been trying to go into reverse. That's the commands that he gave, and that's why Rigel did a fun little rhyme about how the Dominar of the Hynerian Empire does not travel in reverse.
Oh.
And he does a fun little rhyme, and there's a little dance that goes with it, but he can't do both at the same time.
And John basically tells him, well, just turn around and pretend you're going forward.
Oh, there is no expanse of the mind the will cannot traverse, or physically the distance laid across the universe. There's blessings many in the stars, save one lamented curse, that 16th Rigel, glory me, must travel in reverse.
So now he has to go back through and tell everybody, okay, flip it, reverse the last forward commands. What we actually do is forward thrust. But it all has to be timed correctly.
Do the same sequence, but like reverse the last 4 commands. And it takes a little bit of convincing to get Pilot to get along with this. But yeah, John goes back, runs into the red universe.
He's got a mental countdown, 499, 498.
Yeah, they were going to 500 microns is what they were going to use.
Yep, he teaches, he tells Dargo what to do in the red universe. And Dargo goes, I have no timekeeping device.
Yeah, just count like 1 Mississippi and... and of course, this is where the reference comes from the episodes. Like,
good.
Dargo's like 1 Mippippippi. 2 Mippippippi. Those are damn long microns, by the way. But yes,
hey, we've been through this before. I think a micron is longer than a second because,
fair point.
It's like a minute is 45 microns.
Right, something like that. I don't know. John goes running around and gets cut off several times by bright white light. So apparently he can't go everywhere through the ship anymore.
Yeah, it's all collapsing.
But he does make his way back to command, jumps through the hole, and gets back to finding Aaron.
Yeah, whom he can't locate, but he's got his headset.
But he remembers the headset, puts it back on. Suddenly, crystal clear communication.
I'm trying to get out of here. I didn't know if you were coming back.
I'd never leave you.
The discussion between them is much shorter now when he goes like, we need to go full forward now.
You know how to do that?
Yes, of course I do.
Good.
He asked her for directions, and she said, try tier 7 in order to get to crew quarters. They go off to do their own things, and he says, hey, remember, 150 microns? She says,
130 now.
Good luck. And he says, back at you, baby.
Yes.
Back at you, baby.
It's the first time he calls her baby.
Oh, is it now? Okay, fair enough. Back in the yellow universe, there is a big pile-up on the pilot console still. After, again, more trying to get there through running into white
this is where
spaces.
all the running around is
No, there's still
happening.
more running around. It's like there was a lot of running around in the beginning as well, but even more running around.
So much running around and into dead ends until he finally arrives here in the yellow universe, the last universe where the buttons need to be pushed.
And I don't know, I mean, Shanna and Rigel have been taking ecstasy or something. Because
I know, they're having
like...
such a good time. Actually, okay, so one of our listeners at home was the one who remarked that this is the first time that John calls Aaron baby, and we're like, oh, wow, that's such a big deal. Literally 20 seconds later, he calls Chi baby as well.
Yes.
Hey, why don't you relax? Join in the fun.
Give me 7 seconds, baby. We'll come and go together.
Okay, so it's not such a big deal. All right, we can all come down off our high horse. Pushes the button, does the hokey cokey. Moya moves forward in all 4 dimensions, and we see that those energy streams are pushing her back together, squeezing her out into reality.
The one point which I really loved about this shot, though, is like Rigel looking exceptionally worried and just like ducking his head and tucking himself up under John's arm, and he's just like, he's just like, ooh, no, like something that like, he's like he just like tucks himself safely up against John's front and like, oh, I'll be fine here. Like, I love that.
That's so good.
It was adorable. And yes, they end up back all in the same place. There's a big cuddle pile on top of Pilot's
they all flash
console.
back onto the console, and they're all there together,
They're
bursting
all
into
laughing
laughter.
hilariously. I guess the yellow universe kind of carried over the most.
I think at this point they don't even need the yellow mellows anymore. They're just so relieved at having survived and all being together again, except for Pilot, who does not understand.
No, he seems a bit like, why is everybody so like?
He's a bit Data from
I've
Next
come
Generation.
to see the source of your amusement.
I wonder if in the original pitch for the script it ended with Data going, "I do not understand the source of your amusement."
Yes, well, it could be. But yeah, Pilot seems a bit, not put out, but at least, well, I don't know, happy? He doesn't seem particularly happy. He seems to be relieved, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, it was traumatic. He probably didn't understand all of the events that happened.
No, clearly not.
But all's well that ends well. We are back at the dinner table, and everyone is having a good time. They're chatting, they're sharing stories.
Laughing, even the complaining about the food is good-natured.
I suppose there isn't a thing here that I couldn't live on for a cycle.
Except maybe this.
No, I was assuming that because of the lack of taste in that it was a garnish.
They're loving the food. Like, is this the best meal? And Zahn goes, well, nothing like the taste of death to cleanse the palate.
Right, yes. And then there's like a little bit of...
except for this one thing that,
the buttermilk biscuits, which is like... He describes exactly how they're made, and it's like, we have none of those ingredients. And
no, maybe that's the problem.
It means he gets pelted by
they have a little
everybody
food
else.
fight.
Yep.
This whole scene. I mean, they've been through a lot, and we even actually missed a really important moment earlier on, where Pilot suggested that in an emergency, like as a last measure, Moya could self-terminate her baby to provide the thrust as a sacrifice.
But even that might not have been enough, and therefore, like, John immediately goes like, no,
No way.
not doing that. Like, we're all in this together. You're in this together with us. We are not having any of that.
Even Zahn, she breaks sort of her normal mode of speaking. She said, "No way!" Like in a really bogan Australian accent. No fucking way!
I didn't catch that. But,
she's barely put the vestments on before she drops the act again because she's so sincere. And John says, whatever happens, we go together.
Yeah, we're not allowing that sacrifice. Yeah, I guess we didn't really touch very much on the dire straits that everybody's in. That like things are shaking apart and
they're in mortal danger. And so now that they've returned, they realize how much they rely on each other and how much they can depend on each other. Everyone's helped someone. Aaron. Well, Aaron made the. Rigel and Chiana had a good time together.
Well, they had a good time, but they didn't really do anything.
You're right.
They were both kind of useless.
He said a fun rhyme, and I like to think that he did the little dance off screen.
Oh, well, knowing Rigel, probably. He was just bobbing about in his throne chair. And
it sort of looks like it's the exact same meal, except now they're enjoying it a lot more.
Yes, which, well, like nothing like a brush of death to cleanse the palate.
Yeah, exactly. They're all telling each other other stories. Dargo has some ribald tale that he's regaling Crichton with. Like, you actually said that to her? Did that work?
Of course not. The girl screamed and I was almost arrested.
Yes.
Chiana, she also tells about some burglary. Hey, should I be saying this to a priest? And Zahn says, my dear, I've kicked more ass than you've sat on.
Yeah.
Than you've sat on. That is such a good line. Oh, David Kemper did a fantastic job. Pilot shows up once again.
Yes.
With an update. There has been a change to the status of Moya's pregnancy.
Right, yes. And everybody's like concerned for a moment, and then like everything is going fast. There's no specific timetable to Leviathan pregnancies, but this one, it's going to be soon.
We're going to have a baby?
Yes.
We're going to have a baby.
Which really leaves me wondering, are they just going to have like Moya and little baby Moya floating around alongside her for the rest of the... Or is like, are they going to be stolen by the peacekeepers when they show up, and then it becomes a plot line to like retrieve Moya's baby? Or is she just going...
Sorry, this is the self-restraint groan. You recognize that groan?
I am doing this on purpose. I am literally throwing my thoughts out here just to see your reaction and if there's going to be any steam coming out of your eyes or not.
Just out of my eyes? That's a weird way to do it. I'm not the proprietor from episode 1, Deep Cut. But yeah, John gives a toast. This is one of the good days.
Yes.
That's something that he said to Chiana earlier. Do you want to be part of this crew?
Yeah.
She says, well, on your good days.
This is a good day.
This is one of the good days, people, to a healthy, happy baby.
Yeah. Thanks.
And, okay, here's one of my absolute favorite things. I know Kaki likes everything and have lots of favorites, but this is one that I've remembered, like, since seeing this for the first time. Crichton raises his glass, says that this is one of the good days. Nobody really understands what to do. Dargo takes the glass from him and says,
thanks.
And then
Zahn hands him another glass, yes.
And Chiana hands him her. Like, all of them think that this is apparently like some human ritual that they do.
Yes.
Crichton thinks that he learned it from them. This is a Moyan ritual. This is how you toast now.
Yeah, you just pass around the glasses, yes.
And none of them taught anyone. None of them invented it. It just happened on its own. And I bet you they're going to keep doing this.
Oh, that sounds like fun, yeah.
Because this is how culture emerges, right?
I suppose, yeah.
Right, this is now the new thing. This is what we do together.
Now this is the thing we do, yes.
I love this idea. Yeah. So, yeah, this bizarre...
It's a very happy end to an episode, which we don't often see.
Right, it's really upbeat and relieved, and they're together. It even freeze frames on Zahn and Rigel.
I suppose. Rigel gets a kiss from Zahn, much to his chagrin.
Yes!
No!
So yeah, it's like a very happy ending to a... No, well, I wouldn't call it a distressing episode. I mean, for
it was
the characters,
exciting. It was suspenseful.
Yes, and lots of running around Moya.
Yeah, lots of great butt shots of Crichton, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right, yes. So, life on Moya.
Oh, yes, that's a good segment. Do we have any thoughts about Moya as we're doing our own countdown?
I mean, life on Moya, specifically, I have something. I noticed that there was a rather big change to pilot and its console, because it used to be a huge cavernous room with a few walkways that led towards the console, and now it just seemed to be something that was tucked away inside another room with people coming in through the doors and a big floor space in front of the console.
Oh,
it definitely changed.
Oh, well, let's look at it, because I think it's got walkways coming toward it, but it also has like a walkway around it, so there is some space there.
But it seemed like they didn't shoot it like that, or they didn't use the matte painting that they used for the big cavernous room.
I think that's kind of
because it kind of just looked like just another room now, rather than the big open space which it's been made out to be in the past.
Right, the walkways don't look so big. Also, there's no real risk of falling over, and Crichton chose to puke on the walkway and not just over the edge, which he would have been standing right next to.
Exactly.
Which would have been much more convenient.
Yes, also more hygienic, I suppose, or at least, well, it's definitely harder to clean up, but, not your problem anymore when it's down there.
I wonder what kind of a space it's like to hang out in.
I mean, we were talking about like Moya reconfiguring herself, so maybe that's like occurred.
Yeah. But, maybe she's having contractions.
Yes, or expansions.
That was nothing. Yeah, it's not really a chill hangout space. I mean, if we were living on Moya, you'd want to hang out with Pilot every now and again, so maybe put a couple of couches in there.
Something like that, yeah. Or maybe then again, maybe Pilot doesn't even like that. But
not for him, but for someone to come and chill and hang out with him.
Right, but maybe he doesn't like being hung out with.
Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe he's more comfortable on the clamshell.
Right, yeah. I don't know.
Fine.
He seems like that. He doesn't seem to be particularly enamored by people visiting him. I mean, especially not when they come to rip his arms off, but,
Well, no, they do tend to get in the way. I do like that, what was it? The original character description or the personality description was like a put-upon accountant.
Yeah, I can see where that comes from, although that doesn't really mesh with his supposedly happy to serve. Well, actually, I mean, I guess accountants can do that as well.
Let's start with our Willies and Woodies.
All right.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
Well, I think my Woody was definitely the whole scene when Erin was showcasing her knowledge of piloting the ship.
Rotate blue crystal, trim yellow disc, extinguish orange light, open copper rods, black panel depressed halfway, dial tri connector open, hot progression, purple green, orange gold, lights, green knob,
Maximum thrust.
Yeah.
I thought that was an amazing scene. Like when
she
she
is
was like,
so cool and competent.
Yeah, that was a really fun scene. I really enjoyed that very much. Willies, I don't think I really had any willies. There wasn't any particularly thing scary,
right,
or disturbing. Like no disturbing behavior from anybody that I would consider to have been willy worthy.
I think my willy has to go to Rigel's bad non-jokes.
And then the Trollian priest turns to the Calanese cleric and says, "Doesn't bother me. You should have seen her mother."
That he really... Because it's so... I know, everyone has their own experience, but when somebody's super high and having a great time, yes, of course, I'm very happy that you're having a great time, but you're talking a lot of bollocks, and
I'm just going to go away and leave you to your thing and have fun with your bad jokes.
My Woody goes to the food. God, the food
is gorgeous. Yes.
So, if we have conventions again, and for some reason we have another Farscape convention, please let there be a giant spread of food like this. I want to try those multicolored tea eggs. I want to try the pandan goo, the blue roe, whatever that is.
Yes, that looked weird.
That Erin dips her finger into, which is not the most hygienic way to eat roe, but
double dipping,
skinny dipping,
and otherwise maybe the charades.
Shrouds.
That was really good at it.
That was a fun scene too. Yes.
All right. Naming of the episode.
All right. So I've got a few candidates.
You've got candidates?
Right. Yes. Running Around Moya.
Running Around Moya. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
RGB Universe could also be a good one.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Or Dark Side of the Moya, maybe.
That is it. Yes, literally. Greg is probably doing a little dance right now. One of our cosplaying friend who suggested Dark Side of the Moon. Imagine that, but as an episode of Farscape. Right. Well done. Great minds think alike.
Fantastic. So that's an easy one in the bag.
Well, it's fun to have such a happy ending because this is such a seminal episode where this family, they don't even deserve that word yet. I think they still have a journey to go there, but they realize that they love each other, right? And it's not the deep, profound love of siblings, but they have space in their hearts for each other. Hearts plural in the case of Dargo.
My hearts are private places. Stay out of them.
Even Chiana feels like she can kind of belong there.
True, yeah, especially towards the end. She seems to she's had a bonding experience with the crew now, and it makes her more a part of the crew.
And they're going to come down from that, of course. Everybody does. You always come down from your high, but hey, this is one of the good days.
Well, it was definitely a good episode. I really enjoyed it.
And that's the story so far, Farscape.
We'll see you next week with episode number 118, when special forces with black ghost allure make Moya go viral. A host-hopping bug throws a wrench in Moya's first cosplay convention. Red leather, black leather, I can handle big.
Episode 118.
A Bug's Life.
That's the one. You can find us at SoFarscape on Twitter and Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. And on SoFarscape.com. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
SoFarscape, so good.
I'm alive.
I failed to see the source of your amusement.